Hello, I'm Mike, this is Will, we are the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
And we're bringing you issue 10 of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Mortal Realms today. And with this issue we got a Tomb Banshee for the Nighthaunt and a pot of corn red paint. And as always, if you want to skip straight to the battle report, there is a time-code in the description. Heading into the issue, first up we have some backstory on the Tomb Banshees themselves and how they use their screams to haunt the living. Apparently they're powerful enough to kill people. And here we have the forging of Stormcast Eternals. So they are forged in the Sigmarian, out of souls of heroes of the old world, reborn to fight for Sigmar. And you've got some prominent examples, including even one who fell to chaos, ended up as a Nurgle worshipper. Even they can be redeemed. And here we have a short story about one of the few living people on Shyish trying to eke out a living by robbing a tomb and unfortunately encountering a tomb banshee. And here we have the build guide for the Banshees themselves. So you can see the sprue comes with a square moulded base with moulded details, but it also came with a round 32mm base. It tells you not to use the square base, but I decided to cut it off the sprue and actually mount it on the round base just to use it as nice texture. You could use the square base if you wanted, it doesn't actually matter, but the round base would make it consistent with the rest of your army. And this is not an easy to build model, so this will require glue like Zandria Azurbolt did. So it does suggest that you dry fit the pieces once you cut them off the sprue to make sure you're sure where they go. But not too many parts, she's not too hard to put together. And there we have the painting guide for the Banshee. As usual, you start off with the white base coat, just use multiple thin coats, and then the Nihlag Oxide, and then a dry brush of white. But now we're also going to add some of the new colours we got recently to the Nighthaunt. So we're adding Cantor Blue for the cloaks on the Glaive Wraith Stalkers and the Chain Rasps. Yeah, the Chain Rasps and the Thorns of the Briar Queen. And then we're using the corn red we got with this issue to paint the corsets on all of our Myrmor Banshees, the Briar Queen and the Tomb Banshee. And there's a little bit about how to fix any errors. It's a little bit time consuming considering you have to paint white and then paint it over with Nihlag Oxide and then dry brush it again. So do be careful when you're using the corn red or the Cantor Blue. But here you can see the finished models up to this stage. And again, the Thorns of the Briar Queen and the Tomb Banshee. So, with that over, we'll be on to our playthrough of this issue where we'll get to see the Tomb Banshee in action.
And now we're on to our playthrough for this issue. So you can see here the setup that we're given, which is the 3 Sequitors, including one with a Stormsmite Great Mace, against the new Tomb Banshee joined by 4 Myrmor Banshees and placed in the spaces specified. The story here is that the Sequitors are still looking for relics and they found a tomb guarded by all these Banshees. We have several new things to learn with this issue. The first thing is about taking turns. Obviously the magazine previously has just led us through this turn sequence, one step at a time. But the difference here is that, as it says in our previous playthroughs, only the player whose turn it was could fight in combat. But now, as in the full rules, both players get to fight in each combat phase, regardless of whose turn it is. Although whose turn it is does decide who goes first, as we'll see. We also have the war scrolls for our Sequitors and Banshees. Sequitors gain a new rule in this. The model with the Stormsmite Great Mace has a slightly different weapon profile that you can see there. Still 2 dice hitting on 3s and wounding on 3s, but this does 2 damage with each hit. So for every failed save, that's 2 damage. And if it rolls a 6 to hit, then that's D3 hits instead of 1. And obviously we have our war scroll for our Tomb Banshee, who, as you can see, has a move of 6 inches, 4 wounds and a 4+ save. And then the Chill Dagger is the same as the one for the Myrmor Banshees, 1 attack hitting on a 4, wounding on a 3, D3 damage, but if she rolls a 6 to hit, it causes D3 mortal wounds. And what a mortal wound is, wounds automatically and allows no save, so it basically bypasses the wound and save step. Then the Stormcast Eternals get to go first, and all of this is stuff we've already learnt before, apart from the Great Mace, which has a slightly different profile. But then over the page, still in Stormcast turn 1, as you can see at the top of the page, the Nighthaunt get to attack. So the Tomb Banshee goes first, it specifies that, and she can pile in an attack as normal, and then the Myrmor Banshees can do the same thing. So that's something we didn't have before because we previously have gone straight to the Nighthaunt turn. And then in Nighthaunt turn 1, the same sort of thing happens, but it specifies the Tomb Banshee goes first, she piles in and attacks, then the Sequitors get to attack. And the reason for that is in the full rules, each player would alternate picking a unit to fight with. So in this case, the Sequitors will go next. And then finally, once the Sequitors have attacked, the Myrmor Banshees get to go, and then the Nighthaunt turn ends, and you carry on as before. There's no additional rules given for this for an extra playthrough. It does say you can replace the Banshees with the Chain Rasps if you want to. We may or may not do that. We'll see how these first games go. Anyway, that's all our new rules for this issue, so we'll get straight into the game. Here we are back in the tomb with our 3 Sequitors lined up against the Banshees. The Stormcast Eternals get to go first, so for the moment we work the same as before. Pile in 3 inches. We can only pile into the Marmor Banshees at the moment, which means all of my attacks have to go on them. Do I have to roll separately for the Storm Smite Great Mace now? So we'll do that first. It has 2 attacks. These hit on 3s as before. That's 1 hit. Still wounds on a 3, which it does, but this does 2 damage if you fail your save.
4 plus save, which I failed, so that's 2 damage, so 2 Banshees will go down, so I'll take away that one and the unengaged one, so I can get the Tomb Banshee in.
And then 4 attacks from the remaining Sequitors with their normal maces, hitting on 3s. 3 hits. Wounding on 3s. 3 wounds.
3, 4 plus saves. Well, failed all of them, so the remaining 2 Banshees will die. So it's down to the Tomb Banshee. Well, it's still technically the Stormcast turn, but now I get to pick a unit to fight, since we're technically engaged. So I'm actually going to pile in over here. Tomb Banshee has 1 attack that hits on a 4, but on a 6 she causes a d3 mortal wounds. I got a 5, so it's just an ordinary hit. Wounds on a 3, which it does.
I get my 4 plus save, which I failed.
And d3 damage, 3.
Well, I'll take out the one who she was actually in contact with, and we'll put a wound on Anastasia's Strike.
Makes sense. Keep the Great Mace alive.
But now we move on to Nighthaunt turn 1.
Yeah, so because it's my turn, I get to pick which unit fights first. So obviously I'll pick the Banshee again, so she'll pile in. 1 attack, hitting on a 4. Oh, I rolled a 6, so now I cause d3 mortal wounds, and the attack sequence ends, so these can't be saved, and I don't need to roll to wound. I just straight up go to damage. 1. So Anastasia dies.
But then, again, still in the Nighthaunt turn, I can pile in and fight back. Who hits on 3s with 2 attacks. They do hit. They wound on 3s. 1 did.
Banshee has a 4 plus save, which I failed, so she takes 2 damage. She has 4 wounds, so she's down to 2.
That was the Nighthaunt turn, so now it's the Stormcast turn again. I can't pile in, so I'll just go straight to the attack sequence. Stormcast Eternals strike first in their own turn, so hitting on 3s again. 2 hits, still haven't seen that 6. Wounding on 3s, 2 wounds.
2 4 plus saves, need to make both. Well, I made 1, failed 1, but the Banshee goes down.
It's 2 damage. So that was our first game, and we'll set this all up and give it another go. Set up again, Stormcast turn 1, Stormcast will pile in again. Again, I can't get to the Tomb Banshee, so we'll just have to hit the Marmor Banshees instead. Do the Great Mace first again, 2 attacks hitting on 3s, 1 hit, wounding on 3. It did.
1 save, which I made.
4 attacks from the normal Sequitors, 3 hits, wounding on 3s, 3 wounds.
3 4 pluses. Made 2, so 2 Banshees will die, so we'll take away the unengaged one. We'll take away that one.
But still in Stormcast turn 1 again.
Yep, so...
Well, technically the Tomb Banshee piles in and attacks first.
Yeah, it's going by the magazine. I mean, technically I can choose, but... So she can pile into this Sequitor and make her 1 attack, hitting on a 4. Or 6, so she causes a d3 mortal wounds. 3.
We will take out the one in the middle and put the wound on the one fighting the Banshee.
Keep the Great Mace alive.
And well, I also want to be able to hit her back in my turn.
Yeah, and the remaining 2 Banshees will pile into the Great Mace. And they have 2 attacks hitting on 4s. 1 got a hit, wounds on 3. It does.
4 plus save. Oh no, failed my save.
D3 damage. Oh, 3 as well.
Oh, okay. So that takes them all out. The wounded one goes down and the Great Mace dies.
So a victory for the Nighthaunt.
Yes, well, the Tomb Banshee is quite dangerous. We'll give this another go. We'll let the Nighthaunt go first in the next one. So now we'll go again, and we will let the Nighthaunt go first. But in the Nighthaunt turn 1 sequence in the magazine, it specifies the Tomb Banshee goes first. But at the moment, she isn't actually within 3 inches of the Sequitors. But we do know about moving and charging, so what we'll do is we'll let her move normally. She's not allowed to get within 3 inches of the Sequitors, and then she can make her charge move, as we know how to do from previous issues.
Yeah. Essentially, in the move phase, the Banshee will move her 8 inches, which she can get to about here. That's more than 3 inches away.
Yep, staying away from the Storm Smite Great Mace.
Yep, and then she can attempt to charge, so 2d6, needing a 3 or more. 5's definitely enough to get her in, so that can get her to there, into close contact with that Sequitor.
Now we move on to actually making her attacks, so she can now pile in and make her attacks. Which is, so we're now into the sequence as described by the magazine.
Yep, so she gets 1 attack, hitting on a 4, and she misses.
Now the Sequitors get to go, because in the full rules, or normally when fighting in melee, each player gets to pick units and alternate, so that's what this represents. And we are engaged with both units, but I'm going to pile in Star Strike into the Tomb Banshee to get as many attacks as possible. I'm going to make my pile-in moves like that in order to get as many attacks on the Tomb Banshee as possible. Unfortunately, the Sequitor with Great Mace cannot reach the Central Banshee, which is what you'd have to get into base contact with in order to stay within an inch of another model. So I can't fight both units, but I'd rather have 4 attacks on the Tomb Banshee and not hit the other Banshees. So 4 attacks on the Tomb Banshee, hitting on 3s, 2 hits. Let's see if this is actually a good idea or not. 2 wounds on 3s.
2 4+ saves. Made both.
But now, returning to the Nighthaunt, so I get to pick.
Still the Nighthaunt turns, I get to pick pile in, thus staying within an inch. And we got 4 attacks, hitting on 4s, 3 hits, wounding on 3s, 2 wounds.
2 4+ armour saves, made 1 failed one. So.
D3 damage, 3.
Well, we'll lose that one and put a wound on the leader. And now we're into Stormcast turn 1, so I get to make my attacks as normal. So I'll put 2 on the Tomb Banshee, with the normal mace on 3s. It's 1 hit, wounding on 3. Nope. And then the Great Mace on the Nighthaunt Banshee, sitting on 3s. 2 hits, wounding on 3s. 1 wound.
1 4+ save, which I made. The Tomb Banshee goes next. 1 attack hitting on a 4, misses again. And the other Banshees, 4 attacks hitting on 4s, 1 hit, moves on 3, but it does.
4+ armour save. No, 4+ save, rather.
D3 damage, 2.
That one goes down.
On to Nighthaunt turn 2.
Tomb Banshee goes first again.
And she's definitely within 3, so she piles into the Great Mace. 1 attack hitting on a 4. Nope.
Now the Great Mace goes first. He'll go for the Tomb Banshee. No, actually, I'm going to go for the Nighthaunt Banshees because I'll get to hit back being in my turn before the Tomb Banshee gets to do it, only. So I might as well try and take some of them out. 1 hit, wounding on 3. Yes.
4+ save. Nope. So 2 Banshees die. I'll take away the 2 unengaged ones.
But I did cut down the attacks coming back at least.
2 attacks back at the Sequitor that miss.
On to the Stormcast Eternals. So in my turn I get to hit first. Go for the Tomb Banshee. Just more dangerous. 1 hit on 3. Still haven't seen that 6. Deep wound.
4+ save, which I made with a 6, so she's fine. She hits back, hitting on a 4. Finally gets a hit. Wounds on a 3. Nope. And then the 2 Banshees both hit. 1 wound.
4+ save. No, he's only got 1 wound
doesn't matter how
left.
much damage he takes, but he takes 3.
So he's down. So Nighthaunt victory once again. So that is our games for this issue, and we will give you our thoughts on all of that now. Well, that was the battle from issue 10 of Mortal Realms. How did you think all of that went?
Yeah, I think you were probably unlucky with your Great Mace to not get the extra hits. You never roll a 6 to hit, because in theory you should be able to go straight through the Banshees with its 2 damage, and I made a fair few of my armour saves. And
yeah, it's good to have more rules for that as well, because it's always been sort of sitting there looking like it can do something nasty, but we haven't had rules to do it yet.
Well, and you actually might have to think a tiny bit amount about where you want to allocate wounds, because wounded models have to die first, so obviously take out the 2 regular mauls before the Great Maul.
Yes, and also where the Great Mace is positioned in the unit as well. It's a bit limited on a little battlefield like this where we can only pile in and not make normal moves and charge moves. You'd have a bit more freedom to decide where you want your models to be in general.
Mostly only in the case of where there's multiple units or there's a single hero in amongst a regular unit. And you want to get your best melee weapon into contact with them, not the regular guys.
Yeah. Oh, there's another thing I should point out as well is if we were using the full rules when I took out the central one of the 3 Sequitors, that would have been a bad idea in a full game, because if all the models in your unit don't end up being within an inch of them, then you have to remove models at the end of the turn to return it to that state of affairs. So I wouldn't necessarily have done that normally.
We'll learn about that
eventually. Yeah.
But we do just have to stay in an inch.
It also was the first time in a few issues where the Nighthaunt have actually been sort of semi-dangerous.
Yeah, I think...
Or at least the previous few issues, the Stormcast Eternals have had the clear advantage, whereas in this one...
I think I was a bit surprised at how effective the Banshee was. Well, I did roll a few 6s to hit.
Yeah.
And those mortal wounds do hurt a lot against the Stormcast, because you generally have fewer models in your units. So not being able to get a save against them is...
I guess it made up for it in the last game where she missed 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
But having 1 attack or hitting on a 4 means she's a bit inconsistent, I guess. Potentially inconsistent.
Yeah, and she does have other rules which we will presumably get later on as well. That can make her even more dangerous. Because at the moment she's just a sort of slightly better Mire-Morn Banshee. And it is nice to learn about the sort of having multiple units and how they work together, and how you do have to think about where I charge her in, since you can only fight people who you're in base contact with. Obviously not going to charge her into the Great Mace, because it's more likely to crump her.
Yes, and of course it was slightly wonky in the sense that although you can now fight back in your opponent's turn, as it should do in the full rules, it did actually mandate that the Tomb Banshee always went first. So, I mean, for example, if this were a full game, you would have chosen which unit you wanted to go first when it suited you.
Yeah, could have chosen the Banshees to go first.
Yeah.
In the third game, since, well, once both units were engaged, I could have chosen the Ironborn Banshees instead of the Tomb Banshee. But it also means, since you always alternate, since the Tomb Banshee goes first, once she's attacked, you can basically ignore her and then kill the regular Banshees to reduce the number of attacks coming in the rest of the turn.
Well, exactly as I tried to do.
And then in your turn, you can put all your attacks on the Tomb Banshee.
And I mean, I wasn't entirely able to get to grips with her, I don't think, in most of those games. So, because being a single model and the current rule where we have to be in base contact to attack, I just didn't really get close enough to her.
Yeah, and hiding her in a corner on this map as well limits the amount of attacks you can get on her.
But still, it is important to learn about the turns, because, I mean, in a previous game, we actually forgot that they didn't have a proper turn sequence, and so we went ahead and attacked with a unit in the opponent player's turn. But this is the first time we've actually been officially told to do that now, so...
Yeah.
I don't know whether it might have been nice to have some alternate rules for doing a different kind of battle. It might be interesting to see like Zandra as your bolt against these models, for example.
It does suggest having a go with the chain rasps or something, but I imagine it would basically play out the same way, because it's really going to be about where you put the Tomb Banshee. And really, I imagine my tactics are going to be the same, it's just to try and gum up the Great Mace with the Riff Raff and keep the Tomb Banshee fighting the other two. And the Glaive Wraiths probably do about as well as the Banshees, because they have more attacks.
Again, without some of the other special rules that we will get eventually, a lot of the Nighthaunt units are still fairly similar. That will change eventually, but at the moment, there's only so much we can learn from doing that, I guess. I guess we talk about the Tomb Banshee's model as well. In particular, the base.
Yeah,
because, we did mention in the intro, but she comes with a moulded square base.
Yeah, from a bygone era of Warhammer, the original Warhammer Fantasy.
And that actually comes on the sprue.
But she comes with a 32mm base provided as well, or she should.
Which is, amusingly, the official base sizes document says she should have 25mm base. So the magazine gave a sensible size of base. She looks good on a 32mm, but that's not technically her official base size. So
yeah, and I just stuck her on the 20, put the square base, and then stuck that on the 32 and built up the side with green stuff and pushed some little rocks into it. And I guess it helps her stand out as well. I think she is meant to be a hero. And I do quite like her model as well. I like the way the hair looks. It makes her stand out compared to the rest of the Banshees, and lets you get an extra splash of colour in an army that I have basically been painting green mostly.
But I think that's all for this issue, so if you enjoyed this content, then please give it a like and subscribe. Let us know if you've been playing through these games, what you think of the rules and the way they've been introducing them, or how you got on with these models. But until next time, we've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye for now.